Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and we're going to be looking at this Tuesday main slate on DraftKings. Applies to FanDuel as well. We have been getting some comments asking if it does apply to FanDuel as well. Pretty much. Salary is just a little bit different over there, so obviously some plays might pump up, some might pump down, but for the most part, this is more of an overview to kind of get you started on where you want to head for your lineups tonight. Large slate, a couple rain games that we do have to be paying attention to. Again, the Atlanta versus San Diego game is a rain concern, just like they got postponed last night and it didn't even rain. But Toronto, Boston, this is another rain game that we're going to have to be looking at. And I know it says sunshine here for Detroit, Texas, but I do see it's now like a 20 to 30%. Who knows? Things can change throughout the day, but make sure you're always keeping up to the date with the weather. We could just dive right into the pitchers here, and honestly, there's not a whole lot to like in pitchers. I think it's kind of very similar to yesterday in that, nobody's absolutely standing out, and you're just going to kind of pick between a handful of guys and kind of hope that yours is the one that rises to the top. But we'll just start at the top here. Luis Garcia, 10.4K. Garcia had a great like May into June, and then he's kind of stumbled a little bit heading into the All-Star break. But he still is, he's still a solid pitcher for sure. He's got a nice matchup going up against Cleveland. We know that Cleveland, their offense can struggle. They can strike out. So 10.4K is a bit high. I don't really want to be paying that much for him, but if that's where you land in your lineups, if you get all your bats in, this is like kind of where you land, that's fine. He's not a fade at all, but he is priced up a little too high for me. Rogers right below him, he's still in that magical 5-figure range, 10K. Kind of the same deal, but he's faced some really, really solid offenses this past couple of games. Miami got absolutely destroyed by Washington last night. 18-1, I think, was the final score. Miami used up a lot of their bullpen, so I think Rogers might see a pretty long leash here. They're going to really want him to get deep into the game so they can rest some arms. But still, 10K going up against this Washington offense that seems to be cooking pretty well as of late is kind of concerning, but Rogers is still a solid pitcher. And again, it's kind of like Garcia. If this is where you land, that's fine. I don't think he's a fade at all. I think he's a very solid play, but I do think there are some better options that are cheaper. Wood going up against the Dodgers. No, I'm GPP at best. Darvish, he's the one guy that I think is better option than Garcia or Rogers if the game does play. Again, this is the rain postponed a game last night, so they're really going to want to get this one in, but it's looking dicey. So if the rain does hold out and you can get I think he's my favorite pitcher on the slate here, but again, it's iffy with the rain. NOLA, he just got off the COVID list. He didn't actually have COVID. He didn't have a positive test. It was a contact tracing thing. So I don't know how Philadelphia wants to use him. He should get a full leash. He should get a full game. But you just never know with how these teams are handling things. If he does get a full leash, I think he is another great play. I think he might be my second favorite play outside of Darvish. Look at these strikeout totals in the past month or so. He's having his ceiling games in terms of strikeouts, but he is still allowing a lot of earned runs. So even in the game where he got 11 strikeouts, he still only posted 13 fantasy points, which is pretty impressive, if you ask me. So the strikeouts are there. But he can get hit a little bit. So I'm not saying he's an absolute lock or anything, but still a fine play. And you can kind of see, as we go through here, there's a lot of nice options. I mentioned it at the start of the video. There's a lot of nice options, but no true guy where you have to lock him in. It's going to be kind of like last night. You just kind of plug your guy in and hope that he is the guy that rises to the top. Means is on a pitch count, so I'm completely off of him here. Williams, I don't want to pay that much. Ober, kind of the same thing. If I do go down to this range, McClanahan would be the guy that I would target. Baltimore strikes out a lot versus left-handed pitching, especially in the past month. They're a top 5 strikeout team, in that they strike out the most. So I do like McClanahan here. He does provide a solid floor for you. So yeah, not much else to say about him. Solid pitcher. If I do land in that range, I'm going to be going with McClanahan. So going on down, Marquez is the next guy I want to highlight. His form has been insane lately. I mean, look at it. He is going deep into the games, 6, 7, 8, 9 complete games. Hits. He's not allowing hits. He's not allowing earned runs. His strikeouts are up. These game logs are insane. And he didn't really get too much of a price bump. You can see his last time out, he's going up against Seattle. Last time against Seattle, 33 DK points. Now he is back in Coors, so there is some hesitancy there. But his past 2 games in Coors, he put up 37 and 27. Even if he's going at 27 at 8.1K, that is an absolute lock and load. So Marquez, I think, is a very, very intriguing pitcher today. Let's see his splits. He's still getting close to 20 points at Coors on the season. So, I'm kind of talking myself in here. Marquez might be closer to the top of the list, even though he is in that Coors environment. McKenzie, he strikes out a lot of guys. He has great K upside, but he does walk a lot of guys. And so his pitch count goes up pretty quickly, so he doesn't get deep into games. Going up against Houston, not too interested in there. Let's go. Muller, rain game. He also gets a lot of strikeouts. SKUBAL. SKUBAL going up against Texas. I like SKUBAL here. He does have the strikeout upside. He can limit the walks. He just has a little bit of issue with allowing hits. His whip is a little bit higher than we would like, but still, 7K. This is where you land for your SP2. It could be worse. I mean, Texas offense, we just saw how bad it can be. Just getting absolutely destroyed in Buffalo/Toronto, whatever you want to call it, over the weekend. So I think Detroit could be fine. Actually, Texas got hurt last night too, didn't they? Against Detroit. Detroit just spanked them. So SKUBAL, I think, is another fine option. So those are kind of really the pitchers that I'm looking at. I'm not really paying attention too much to anybody else. Maybe Miley, but in Cincinnati, it's supposed to be hot. The wind's supposed to be blowing out. So I'm not too interested in there. You can kind of see he's going to be going deep into games here. I'll shrug my shoulders to that one. He's fine, but I'm not going to be targeting him. So let's go to the bats here. Top option clearly has got to be the Coors game, but the Colorado bats. Seattle bats going against Marquez, not fully interested in, but these Colorado bats going up against Gonzalez, definitely a top play here. Colorado righties especially. So I'm going to read you Gonzalez's numbers against right-handed batters. Right-handed batters against Gonzalez in the past 3 months, so essentially the season. 440 WOBA, a 350 ISO, and a slugging percentage of 666. So they're absolutely crushing Gonzalez, the right-handed bat. So you're going to be looking at guys like Rogers. You're looking at guys like Story, Cron, Hampson, and really, they're not that expensive. I mean, they are, but for a Coors game, if you can load a 4-man stack of a team that's going to have an implied total over 6, sign me up. So, I mean, let's just throw in these right. Jeez. Hampson and Rogers, both second base eligible. It's early in the morning. I'm recording this at like 6:30 in the morning here. There you go. Hampson's got outfield eligibility. So let's throw in Rogers. Let's throw in Hampson just to kind of see where we line up with our bats. I don't want Blackman. I mean, honestly, if you get to left-handed hitters against Gonzalez, you can absolutely throw those guys in as well. It's not like he absolutely destroys left-handed hitters at all. So if we did this, we're looking at 5K remaining for pitchers. This is going to be a pretty popular chalky stack here. Let's see. Let's go to a cheap pitcher. Let's throw in McClanahan. And you're looking at 4.3K remaining. So it's going to be tough to fit in all four of those guys. You're probably going to have to be finding somebody that is min price. Let's see. Is Calhoun? Is he still min price here? All right. Computer does not want to. Oh, he got bumped up to 2.5K. So I don't know. It's going to be tough, but definitely want these Colorado bats. They're my top stack. Houston, they're going to be another popular option here tonight, going up against McKenzie in Cleveland. Well, for Cleveland. Like I mentioned earlier, McKenzie, he does have strikeout upside, but that's really all his game is. If he's not striking guys out, he's getting hit hard or he is allowing walks. Houston, they don't strike out as a team very often. They're one of the lowest strikeout teams in the league. So McKenzie's one saving grace is pretty much gone. So I do like Houston here. I mean, really anybody from Houston, lefties, righties. Brantley is just way too cheap, 3.2K. He's going to be a very popular option here tonight. So really all the lefties, you're looking at Brantley, you're looking at Tucker, you're looking at Yordan Alvarez. Make sure he's in the lineup, but definitely him as well. That's kind of all your outfield spots. But if you're to look at one guy, definitely Brantley at 3.2K. He's just far too cheap. But if you want to go with Altuve, Correa, Gurriel, totally fine with those guys as well. So Colorado, Houston, your top two absolute like safe plays in my opinion. But if we want to change things up a little bit, maybe you can go with Cincinnati. Probably won't be as popular. I still think they will be kind of popular. They are facing some the injury bug here, but they got really priced down. I mean, Winker 3.9K. If you told me a month ago that he would get below 4K in the season, I would not have believed you. He was over 6K for a little bit there. So Winker, I like him in his spot here going up against Stock, if it is Stock. But yeah, looking at the lefties here, you go Winker. Naquin is still, again, he's going to be a very popular cheap option at 2.3K. Votto is nice. India, top of the lineup, he's fine. But Cincinnati, I think they're a great option as well. They can provide a nice little savings for you if you want. After that, not too much interest. The White Sox going up against Ober. They have a high implied run total at the moment. Ober can show his stuff. He can do well, but he also can get hit hard. So I don't know. The White Sox have disappointed me in the past month or so with their offense. So I'm kind of off them personally just because of how poor they have been. But who knows? Vegas likes them, so maybe they do well and shock me. But we'll look through at the other bats. Maybe Philadelphia going against Herman. Atlanta game and the Toronto game. I really don't think that they're going to be playing with all the rain. St. Louis, Chicago, you could go with either of those. Arizona, Pittsburgh, they're both cheap. No stud pitchers on either side there. That kind of wraps things up there. I mean, it's kind of my interest. I'm not going to go too depth in here. I am short on time. I do have to get going to work here in a minute, but I mean, so that kind of covers everything though. It kind of guides you in the right direction. For pitchers, there's just no true absolute stud ace that you need to have. But Rogers, Garcia, Darvish, Nola, probably the top four. McClanahan down in this range. Marquez is in amazing form, regardless of Coors or not, and he's got a nice matchup against Seattle. And SKUBAL can provide a nice floor going up against a terrible Texas team. As for bats, Colorado, you want Colorado bats in your lineup tonight. Lock and load them, absolutely, 100%. Houston, Cincinnati as well. Those are kind of my favorite three. After that, you can throw in guys like Miami, Washington, Philadelphia, or who's the last team? Or the Pittsburgh or Arizona teams. So that kind of covers everything. As always, good luck in your contest tonight, and we will see you in the next video.